The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
White Reaper opening for Lovejoy, Q101's Twisted Christmas. 1 week from Wednesday. That'll be night 2. Your tickets are available right now at Q101.com.
1952 North Lincoln, banging on the doors.
True Crime Tuesdays with Brian and Kenzie. This actually happened.
I'll make sure my camera's on.
This actually happened. It's the truth.
It's true.
This is where Kenzie breaks down a crime mystery that happened right here in the Chicagoland area in Illinois. So, Kenzie, go ahead. Let's hear it. Me and Case don't know what you're going to bring to us right now either.
Yes, so I never tell you guys, and I'm always interested, especially in your immediate reaction. Do the Grimes sisters mean anything to you? Have you heard that name before?
I think I've heard it, but I don't know where it's going to go. So far, that's where I'm at.
Okay, so
I think
name sounds familiar, but you're not sure the story.
I definitely have heard that before, but I don't know anything about the story.
So I gotta be honest with you. I had actually not heard of this one either. We've done a few stories where I felt like I was lightly familiar, but I had not heard of the Grimes sisters before. And it actually is one of the most infamous Chicago murders.
Oh, wow.
And many people blame these murders, and they've kind of labeled it as the loss of innocence in Chicago. The time period where you then started switching to locking doors, not letting your kids attend anything. This was the cultural shift. Even WGN did an article on it as recent as last year, talking about the culture shift after this murder in the city.
All I'm saying right now is I got goosebumps when you just said that. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, let's go.
On December 28th, 1956, two sisters begged their mother to let them go see the love of their lives on the big screen.
Okay.
Barbara, 15, and Patricia, 12, were absolutely obsessed and in love with Elvis Presley.
Oh.
As so many were.
Sure.
At the time, you may remember, or you may not.
I was not born.
I don't know. I know you were first in line. No, kidding. The movie Love Me Tender was in theaters. Have you heard of that movie?
Of course.
Yes, obviously a classic. These young girls had actually already seen the movie 10 times.
Yeah, it sounds like Titanic girls.
They loved him. And back then, that's when celebrity, it was so much smaller. Right? Like you had a little handful of celebrities that equaled icons. So this was, people were truly, truly obsessed, right?
Totally.
With Mr. Elvis Presley. Now, they had gone 10 times, and their mother was actually hesitant about allowing them to go on this particular evening.
So they've already gone 10 times.
10 times.
The 11th time, Mom got concerned.
She was just like, I don't know. It was later in the evening. It was an evening showing.
Okay.
And they begged. They're like, just one more time, please. We're going together. And the mother decided to lend her permission. And the young sisters, filled with joy, headed to the Brighton Theater. Obviously, a local theater. All of this took place in the Chicagoland area.
Got it.
Now, you may remember, but if not, I want to remind you, the movie Love Me Tender that Elvis Presley starred in actually ends with Elvis Presley's death in a shootout.
I didn't remember that. I knew the movie. I just don't remember that ending.
Very, heartbreaking to fans. And unfortunately, much like Elvis in his film, the Grimes sisters did not live to see the morning or even live to see their home again that night.
Oh, my God.
When they first did not come home,
right.
Obviously the mother was, of course, concerned and made a call to police around midnight after they hadn't come home after the movie. So she did wait it out just a little bit, but they didn't make it home that night. She called the cops, and tons of leads flooded in because this was a time, you have to remember, you're talking about 1956. This was a door unlocked, kids walk down the streets. Not a big deal to almost have trust in your community.
Like in the movie Back to the Future when they go back.
Right.
There's the kids riding on the street, walk, do whatever you want to do.
Just a very different time.
Yep.
And so the cops really had a hard time distinguishing the truth. They were flooded with leads and rumors because everyone truly became obsessed with this case.
Sure.
Right? It was one of the only that had been like it. Now, workers locally at a five and dime store in Chicago told police they were absolutely positive they saw Barbara and Patricia with 2 sailors listening to Elvis records on January 3rd.
What?
Now, that's several days after their mother reported them as missing. A Minnesota woman who was traveling at the time had also reported she 1,000% with all confidence met the sisters at a Nashville bus station restroom January 9th.
So all this sort of flooded in like all over the country.
People
Or in that
were
region,
reporting.
but definitely all over the place of just saying, I've seen them. And this
I've
is
seen them. I've interacted with them. I mean, this woman's claiming she interacted with them.
Well-
January 9th. Now, just to remind you, December 28th is the night that they did not come home.
right. So like, 10 days later or whatever.
So rumors really, truly ran wild at that point between these two big reports that people were going with more because they were actual interactions that people were claiming versus like, I thought I saw him drive by or whatever.
Yep.
So this got like a little out of hand. And the rumor that really, really took fire is people believed that the girls were headed to Memphis to see Elvis Presley's home after the Nashville bus stop and them hanging out with men listening to Elvis.
That makes sense, actually.
Yes. And then even Elvis Presley had to speak out on the topic.
Whoa.
Think about, like, this is before Twitter. This is
Right.
before social media. This got to Elvis Presley himself, and he put out a statement. He said, if you are good Presley fans, you'll go home and ease your mother's worries.
Dang.
He came out and spoke on it because there was a big belief that they were traveling across the country to find him, find his home, all of that.
That's wild.
Now, the Grimes girl's mother, Loretta, pleaded they are not the type of girls to run away.
Every mom says that, though. But I mean, I get it. They probably weren't that type of girls or boys or whatever to leave, but you don't want to believe they could do that. And then, but Elvis was, I mean, what's a comparison today? Like, I'm sorry, Justin Bieber or whoever, or Taylor Swift or whatever. If a guy chasing Taylor Swift.
I don't think anybody, again, I don't think celebrity gets as big as it was because back then it was untouchable, like being a celebrity, and you didn't get to get close to it.
No access.
Now social media, tons of tours, tons of that was, you had to tune into a Christmas special or
Right.
something to even see certain performances and all that. So it really doesn't get bigger than that. You can't, like, the iconness that comes from there.
Yep.
So the mother spoke out again after 25 days that the girls still had not come home.
Yikes.
But I'm going to pause there.
Oh, no.
That's where I'm going to pause.
What are you doing? You learning how to tease from me?
Well, I know, because then it would be a bad one.
All right.
So 25 days, the girls still have not come home, and we're going to pick up from there.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to give us the answer, though. What happened?
Yes.
Holy crap. All right. Stay with us. Coming back here, we'll give you the results of what happened. It is True Crime Tuesday.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
All right, so it's Brian and Kenzie on Q101, True Crime Tuesday, and Kenzie has already laid out the setup for the Grimes sisters, this murder that happened back in the 50s, or a murder mystery. I don't know how it ends. I don't know the story. Case doesn't know either. Casey, you're pretty intrigued by what Kenzie has laid out for us here.
I am very much so, mainly because I don't know how it ends, but I also feel like in a separate life, this could very easily be me.
Going
What?
Because the girls went to go see the Elvis movie 10 times. They begged their mom for the 11th time to go one more time, and then they never came home after that.
Like, I don't just like things, I obsess over things. Elvis is an obsession of mine. I'm a huge Elvis fan. This could have very easily been me.
I don't know. I don't think you have the same target on your back. I'll be honest.
He's not murderable.
Well, he's very, like, you're not compact at all. Like, you're
No.
6 foot.
Somebody once told me, because I've lived in the city a long time now, and I don't run into a lot of issues, and somebody was like, you look just mean enough and just poor enough not to mess with.
Ooh, good
It's
points.
too big of a hassle to try to jump me. I got nothing you want. I got baseball cards.
It's
Sure.
true, because I find I'm compact.
Oh, I could. Yeah. No,
I'm
if I was.
not gonna run fast. I'm not aerodynamic. You can tell.
And your voice, no one's going to come help you when you try to yell help.
Help! I can't scream loud.
Oh, do it again?
Help me! I can't scream like I can't like hit an. I'm like the opposite of Mariah Carey. I can like talk in a lower octave than my husband. I can't do it.
Yeah. Just one more time so people will see if they would come help.
Me! That's like I could get a little.
Why is that the one thing you're quiet about? It doesn't make any sense. It's the one thing you should yell.
I can't reach a high pitch.
Yeah.
That's why. So I can't like that's my like. There's
Your voice craps out when it gets higher. Yeah.
But at least it's like, oh my God, somebody's in trouble, or they just stuck a fork in the garbage disposal. Like, I'm going to come running one way or two.
She's got to get loud. She's got to go lower register.
Yeah.
So it's a love me.
Help! Not good. I carry a lot of stuff on me. I have the birdie. I have pepper spray.
What's the birdie?
The birdie is an alarm that goes off when you pull it.
You have your own security system, like a cyborg?
I can't scream, Case.
But what does it sound
Yes.
like? Does it go is it like a bird?
It's like wee woo wee woo wee woo wee woo. Like it is like.
Do you have it
that.
on you right now?
Yeah.
I want to hear. Well,
Are we allowed to play that, or is that going to get us in trouble?
Oh yeah, we probably can't play an emergency alarm.
plus, yeah, police might hear if the radio's loud somewhere. They might come running because that's what they're supposed to do. I guess it calls out the cops to come get you.
That's not a bad signal. What do you mean?
Well, most people today, when there's a crime going on, they just film it. You know, no one comes
They
to.
instantly like. What do you have? They're not like. Could you imagine like they just perk up? Like, they can hear it.
Oh, a crime.
It's like,
It's just supposed to be so it causes attention, so somebody
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do something. That's the concept.
like I said, people just film things. Like maybe RoboCop comes up out of nowhere. Anyway.
I don't know. I really don't want to find out.
No, we don't.
What happens?
It will be fine. So,
Okay.
let's continue the story about the Grime sisters because we don't know
Yes.
the conclusion of what
One
happened.
of the just a quick recap in case you're just tuning in with us and you missed the first half. I don't want you to be totally lost here. The Grime sisters, one of the most infamous Chicago murders. It happened in 1956. Two sisters, 15 and 12, went to go see the new Elvis Presley movie, Love Me Tender, for the 11th time. It was an evening showing.
I'm glad
Yes.
you're doing a recap
Yeah.
because I didn't catch the first time. They were only 15 and 12.
Yes.
And they went out. You talked about the 50s being this time when people left their doors unlocked in Chicago and all that. And it's just, God.
It's a different time.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, their mom was actually hesitant, which she let them go so many times. So I just feel like that gut feeling does kick in. So she was hesitant, and they did not come home that night. Now, this case captivated people because around this time you didn't see as much of this,
Right.
So the amount of attention it was getting on TV, that was also your only form of news. Like you didn't have. It may have been the radio, honestly. I don't even know.
Yeah, there was
If
radio
everyone had-
existed. Yeah.
I don't think everyone had TV in their homes. I'm not sure when that shifted.
I don't think so. But it started around then.
Right. So you're, of course, not getting Twitter updates on a million other things and all the other bad news that wasn't happening. But a lot of leads flooded in. And because these crimes were so uncommon, the police and so many people truly believed that these girls had kind of run away. Somebody claimed they spotted them at a Nashville bus stop. And the thought process was these girls are Elvis obsessed, as every 15-year-old is right now, and they're headed to Memphis to visit him at his home in Graceland. The mom, of course, was like, that is not who they are. That's not what's happening, and pleaded for help. But the rumors even caught the ear of Elvis, who said, hey, he put out a statement. How crazy is that? Elvis said, if you are good Presley fans, you'll go home and ease your mother's worries.
Wow.
That is how confident people were that these girls had run away.
Steven Tyler wouldn't have said that.
What?
Yeah, go home and ease your mom's worries. No, he'd say, come on tour with me. He'd say, come on.
Man, Steven, unnecessary stray, but Steven Tyler really catching a stray there.
Yeah, he'd go, come on and follow us on tour.
I don't know where this is coming from. What did Steven Tyler do?
He's-
You don't know that. He's never been in this position.
No,
he's got a few cases against him
Yeah,
recently.
Steven Tyler's.
Let's not get sidetracked on Steven Tyler, but I'm just saying there was a couple,
Okay, I don't
things,
know about those. I'm not saying yay or nay. I've not done a deep dive.
couple things going on with Steven Tyler lately.
Google, you'd be shocked at what comes up. It's not Aerosmith lyrics.
Oh, boy.
It's not a Halloween movie either. Kind of a Halloween movie. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so that is kind of where we left off. Now, after 25 days of waiting and waiting. I'm sure in excruciating agony, just, waiting for either your girls to come home or a lead. There's just so many rumors to go through. Cops are really having a hard time deciphering what is the truth. They're following up on hundreds and hundreds of leads because everyone was so obsessed with this. 25 days later, Loretta Grimes, their mother, spoke out and said, if someone is holding them, please let my girls call me. And she gave that quote to the Chicago Daily Tribune, which is now called the Chicago Tribune.
Right.
But back then, obviously, that is what it was called. And that's how confident the parents were that their kids were not kids who would run away. And she was claiming, like, please help, while others are like, hey, go back to your parents. So they were just on different pages. Now, January 22nd, just to put in perspective for you again, they went missing, or the mom put in the missing call. January 28th is when they went to the movie and did not come home. The mom called at midnight.
Right.
We're talking January 22nd now. 1957, the search officially stopped. A motorist.
Just that, I mean, I don't want to say quick, but I mean, they just stopped right then. They said, we can't do anything.
Well,
where are they?
Well,
my
a
bad.
motorist
Okay.
saw what he thought was mannequins off the bridge over Devil's Creek near Willow Springs.
Oh.
So he pulled over because that was weird. And it ended up being the Grimes sisters' bodies.
Oh.
And so much so, the father spoke out, Joseph Grimes. This is one of your first times hearing from him on January 23rd, a day after, and said, I tried to tell police my daughters did not run away, but they didn't listen to me. So there's a lot of, obviously, pain, in that discovering. Patricia had several minor puncture wounds in, like, kind of her chest area, but just little, like, they even thought it may be like a little ice pick, not like stabbing. And then Barbara's face just had some marks and bruises. However, the autopsy indicated the girls actually died of exposure to freezing temperatures. Which left people to wonder even more. So, of course,
But they could have just ran away and then froze to death.
right. So now there's those questions are leading in. So more and more tips flood in. If you remember, remember Gabby Petito,
Yeah.
how people become it's almost overexposure can sometimes be bad because you end up getting so much information that it makes it impossible to follow up on versus somebody just with information. So again, you got the public chiming in with a million tips. Now, one tip seemed to ring very true because it came along with a confession. All right.
Whoa.
A cabbie driver described the sisters seeing them on December 30th. This would be 2 days after they were intended to go to the movie. He saw them at a Skid Row diner located on Chicago's Madison Street with two men. One reportedly was sideburns, similar to Elvis's, is how it was described. Now, police started to pursue that diner lead, and they tracked down a young drifter. His name was Edward. They called him Benny Bedwell. He was from Tennessee. So kind of interestingly enough, did he attract them with that Tennessee connection, right? He was 21. He was a former circus worker. He had served briefly in the U.S. Air Force, and he had jobs. At a factory as well as being a dishwasher when detectives had picked him up for questioning. So kind of odd jobs here and there.
Yeah.
I think back then that was a little more common too. You got people they're just trying to work their way up. After several days in custody, Bedwell signed a confession. This happened on January 27th, admitting that he had killed Barbara and Patricia with an accomplice named Frank. So, as he told it, he and Frank met the girls on Madison Street, a tavern there, on January 7th. So, this is a little interesting because, where were they? They left the 28th, and they met them January 7th. So, that's interesting. He said they spent a week together, booking different hotels, kind of partying, being out and about. However, on January 13th, and this is his quote, after the girls resisted the men's advances, Bedwell and Frank knocked them unconscious and then left them in that field. Hence why they would pass away from freezing temperatures. Yeah. He then put, as his, at the end of it, I suppose, his alibi or whatever you want to call it, if I hadn't been drinking, I wouldn't have done what I had done. I didn't do it intentionally, is what he claimed, which is
a lot of people blame
aggressive.
alcohol on things. I don't know about that.
Now, Loretta, you have to think of this time again. Loretta, their mother, is appalled by this confession. She is not finding solace in it whatsoever. And she denied that her daughters would coerce and, she said, our girls came from a good home and were brought up in religious surroundings. Because you're thinking of the time, you're thinking of now, 1956 to 1957, because it's happened like December through January.
Sure.
Right? And she's like, they're not staying in a hotel for over a week with strange men. Like, this is not my daughters, right? But a lot of people think that they know their kids and don't. So unfortunately, that wasn't met with the utmost confidence, right? Now, you think you have a confession?
I do.
It matches up?
Right now?
Okay,
I think it's done case. Done deal.
It sounds accurate. It came off of a tip from somebody else on top of that. However, the confession fell apart very quickly. So almost immediately, holes started appearing in Bedwell's story. Medical experts concluded the girls may have actually passed away December 28th. Now, since that has been disputed, you have to think about how far we've come when it comes to medical reports and testing. But back then, medical reports claimed that they believed that the daughters passed away December 28th, which would make his entire story impossible, of course. They also factored in the time card that Bedwell had for his jobs, which would have been an alibi for the very evenings he said he was meeting the girls. And this is old school punch in, punch out, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he maybe he chimed in from his phone. They were like, you were not on Madison Street. You were not on this tavern, right? So finally his attorney said that he was coerced into a confession after days and days and days of questioning.
Well, we know that happens.
He was released from jail on bond February 5th. This was completely against what the county sheriff, Joseph Lohman, wanted. He did not want this at all. He was even quoted to say, his daughter said, I think it always bothered him. He was sure he had the right guy and hated letting him go.
Wow.
So the sheriff himself felt so confident coming in off an anonymous tip. It matched descriptions. And I will say, now medical history is showing that maybe they did not pass away on December 28th. There's a lot of dispute over that in more recent autopsies. But back then, that was used to get them off. They said that was inaccurate information. So that confession fell apart. Once again, rumors and tips incessantly flooded. Different autopsy reports kept coming in. And to this day, the Grimes sisters' murder is actually still unsolved.
Oh, no. I want to.
I know.
That sucks. So that guy got let go, and that sheriff thinks it was still him, and that guy just, I guess we don't know what happened to him.
And his daughter claims that this bothered her father really until the day he passed away.
Jeez.
That he felt like he had let an evil person go, is how he felt. Obviously, we didn't talk with him. We don't know all the holes in those stories and those cases.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference of medical history 100% right now. But there's been a lot. And even now, I know there's Facebook pages.
Yeah, somebody texted in. A lot of people were texting in on this story, the Grimes sisters story in Chicago, the murder that Kenzie's been talking about here. And Mike checked in and said there's a Facebook page called Help Solve the Murder of the Grimes Sisters. And the family and friends are in the group, actually. Of the Grimes sisters and people you're talking about, everybody's
True
involved
history,
is in there. Wow.
And it's that her mother, unfortunately, passed away when she was elderly.
Yeah.
And hopefully their spirits are together now, but she never got that closure well on earth of what happened to her daughters.
Wow, Kenzie. That was good. That was really good. I mean, we both love this stuff, and I know Casey get into it. And now it makes me just want to go into a wormhole of all kinds of stuff with the Grimes sisters.
It's a super interesting case, and I'm telling you, I only included. There's more tips and rumors that were followed up on, which were interesting. I definitely couldn't include all of them. Think about, this came from 1956, so there's a few other, even people text in, there was this one lead. There has been leads. They have all fallen through due to lack of evidence, lack of support. And what's tough is when you're solving cases from back then also is now, we can ping phones. We can do stuff. There is probably text evidence. You can see what somebody Googled, all these things. But trying to solve a crime back then And they obviously didn't do things the way we're doing it now. They didn't collect the evidence the same way, preserve it the same way. A lot of stuff is compromised. So it was very, very hard to even follow up on more current tips. But in this story was actually written about in an Unsolved Mysteries book. It's been on TV shows, Unsolved Mysteries book as well, where they do a deep dive. And there was a big claim in there that someone spoke out kind of anonymously and said, I'm telling you, this case could be solved, but there's several people who don't want it to be.
Whoa, what's that all about?
Right. I'm like, please enlighten me on what that means.
Do you want to hear something creepy?
What?
So Ashley texted in just now from Burbank while you've been telling this story and said, my dad's friend used to run the Brighton Theater you're talking about on Archer Avenue, on South Archer Avenue. And she goes, and I grew up going there all the time. There were multiple occasions where I would hear little girls playing. Oh, God.
That's scary.
She even said, as a texter said, even the time I heard an adult male whisper, I didn't do it. This is Ashley saying this from Burbank. I'd hear that in my ear. Being a little girl, I was super scared, and my parents increased it by telling that the Grimes sisters and the killer were both still in the theater.
That's very interesting.
That's also very crazy for a parent to tell the kid there. Because that was obviously, a monster story that still carries today. I don't know how old Ashley is now, but that's wild.
That's interesting, because if it was haunted, that would mean that it happened on the premises.
There. Yeah.
Right. So that's interesting in itself.
All right. Well, there you go. True Crime Tuesday. If you want to hear it from the beginning, go back to the podcast in the 8 o'clock hour, and you get the whole thing. Wow. Good research, Kenzie.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.